Good morning, all. Okay, I think everybody can hear me. I'm having to do this a little bit differently today because it's from home, so I'm testing out a few things. And so if anyone wants to do a voice check, we can do that now. Si alguno que quiere hacer una prueba con su micrófono, levanta su mano, por favor. Okay.
Yep. You want to bring the computer out, so. So should I have to do this in person?
Huh? Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Others? Okay. Here you go, Jose.
Good morning, Bernie. Good morning,
Good
everyone.
morning. Good morning. Yeah, I have two screens so that I can record. Okay. So
Okay, good. I
it's
thought
yeah.
you wanted to do a muted presentation today. No, I'm kidding. How are you doing?
Okay. Okay. We have a nice morning. Happy
Good.
Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day. It's beautiful
Oh.
here too. We got down to almost 32 tonight, which had been a while,
Oh.
but we
Mhm.
didn't go below freezing though.
Yeah. Well, we were above freezing last night, so because we had
Yeah.
some a little bit of winds, so I
Yeah.
think the temperatures only got down to 40.
A cold April.
Yeah, yeah. And here I'm going to forward a few of these and just some greetings from everybody.
Okay.
Well, I'm learning a little bit more because I haven't looked at all the different sides of being a participant versus being a presenter versus
Right. There's
So yes, there is a chat window and a question box window on the participant side. So that's interesting because when you get to be in presenter mode, you only see the chat box, I think.
okay.
So you may only see a chat box when I make
Right
you
now, I'm
presenter.
only seeing the chat box. Yeah, I don't even see the list of people that are in the chat that I usually used to see.
Okay, let me see if I can.
Yeah. Give me only 1 minute. I'm gonna get some water to have it handy.
Okay.
I'll be back.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I'm back. Now I can see
Okay.
the attendees.
Someone mentioned my audio is not heard. So can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay. And you're sounding good. So hopefully. Yeah, you know, I'm sending all these, passing all these comments, and only I know who they're from, I guess. I only realized that recently. I always thought everybody saw who they were from, but I guess not.
Yeah.
So I'll have to think about that in the future. Or I
So
only
many
recently,
aspects.
yeah, I only recently realized this. And how many years have we been doing this? So,
No, it's always something new to learn. Always.
yeah. Okay, I'm gonna here. How about I pass you the presenter?
Yeah.
Let me find
Give me 1 second.
There's
Okay.
one.
Whenever you want.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I made.
Yeah, sure.
Um,
All right. Let me know if you can see my screen.
yes, I can see your screen. Hold on a minute till I.
Okay.
I want to set up the recordings, and hopefully it will work. I think it should. So.
Bernie, do you have time later today so I can send you the short abstract for the presentation next week so you can send the announcement?
Sure.
Okay. So I'll let people know then.
Okay. Oops, you know what? It's funny. Oh. Okay, there. You know, it's interesting because your screen is faking me out. I have to start the recording before
Oh, is it moving too much?
No, I can see your whole desktop, and so that's what I mean. It's faking me out.
Oh.
So I'm trying to click on some of the
they're trying to click on my
apps and
computer.
yeah. Okay, let me do one more thing. Just want to check the audio. Okay, that's good. Okay. I started the recording, so we're ready to go anytime now.
Okay, sounds great. Okay, so welcome everyone to the regional focus session of April 2020. Hope everyone's staying safe and healthy. Hola a todos, bienvenidos a la sesión de grupo regional, el grupo de enfoque regional de abril de 2020. Espero que todos estén seguros y con bastante salud. We're going to talk about a lot of different things today, but what I have on my screen at the moment is a layered precipitable water product, which is put together with mostly polar orbiting satellite data, but it also has input from other data sources. I think it also has stationary satellite data, geostationary satellite data, right, Bernie? In it?
This one, a lot of it is from microwave.
Right.
And I'm not Sheldon could answer that. I think I'm not sure if this is the blended one quite yet.
Okay, okay, okay. So, entonces estoy mostrando ahorita con...
Sheldon says it's all microwave.
It's all microwave. Ok.
Yeah.
Entonces, estoy mostrando el producto de agua precipitable por capas que ha sido desarrollado en el último año y medio, y acá tenemos para Sudamérica, podemos ver diferentes niveles. Este es un producto que se deriva de satélites de microondas, ¿no? Que pueden...
Yeah, and this may, Sheldon, does this also contain the GPS data over land?
Ok.
It may. No. Well, he says no, although I wonder about that. So at the moment, no.
At the moment, no. Okay. Okay. Well, something good of this product is that you can see the precipitable water, but not the whole layer, but you can see how it structures in the vertical. So it's pretty neat to understand how deep the moist plumes are. So for example, we're seeing something very impressive off the coast of Chile, still way offshore, but you can see this, you can see my cursor, right? Can you see my cursor?
Yes.
Okay.
Or I can.
Okay. So what you can see here is it's a moisture plume. This is called a subtropical moist plume. It's basically a region, an atmospheric river, or a region where moisture is transported from tropical regions to extratropical regions. And it's a very, very well-defined, robust surface cyclone, well, deep layer cyclone, really, extratropical cyclone off the coast of Chile. And what you can see that the precipitable water, it's all the way up. I'm going to go down to see the levels, to 500 hectopascals. So it's quite a decent amount of moisture available with the system. But once you get above 500, there's little moisture. So meaning that most of the moisture is in the low and mid troposphere, right? This is very useful for that. You can see, for example, in Bolivia, you have a lot of low-level moisture as well. But once you look at the other layers, there's not a lot of moisture in 500 to 700, and it's dry in the upper troposphere. So if we go back to the slider and see how this looks.
So, I was going to say, before you do that, did you show the color bar too to show the relative amounts?
That's yes, that's a good idea. Yes. Yeah, I'm actually showing the color bar for North America, but you're right. The color bar
I think they're similar. Yeah.
They're similar, yeah.
Yeah.
Ya, disculpen que no había mostrado la barra de colores, pero acá la podemos ver arriba, está en milímetros, y podemos ver que tenemos desde 4 hasta 30 milímetros, ¿no? Y la barra es igual para todas las imágenes. Entonces, como es de esperar, el mayor contenido está en la troposfera baja y va disminuyéndose en la parte alta de la troposfera, ¿no? Yeah. Since I have this up as well, we can look at the Caribbean really quickly. And the Caribbean has a lot. If you look at the low-level moisture, it looks moist, right? But look at further up. If you go already to the 700 to 500 layer, there's little moisture available, and it's very dry above 500, right? Otro ejemplo que quería mostrar es si vemos el Caribe en esta imagen, tenemos un montón de humedad de niveles bajos, pero si vemos la capa de 700 a 500, hay muy poca agua, vapor de agua disponible, menos de 4 milímetros y muy seco arriba, ¿no? Entonces, si vamos a la imagen, if we go to the satellite image, I'm going to get the series channels out. I have the geocolor and the GLM at the moment, and you can see that in the Caribbean, most of this is shallow convection. If I use the cirrus channel, which blocks low-level clouds, yeah, you can see the same thing, right? So there's a lot of moisture, but it's trapped in the lowest troposphere. Entonces, en el Caribe, si combinamos el producto anterior con lo que vemos en el slider, podemos ver que efectivamente la nubosidad es principalmente llana, ¿no? No hay desarrollo vertical profundo en la cuenca del Caribe en este momento.
Okay, I have a hand raised from someone, although Janet Vargas, although I don't see a mic. So.
Oh, okay. So she needs to use the chat. Janet, si quieres hacer alguna pregunta, por ahora vas a tener que que escribir en el chat, porque no encontramos el micrófono. Ok, Okay, well, we'll try to get Janet's contribution sorted out. You can also see this interesting feature. We're going to talk about this later during the session. But can anyone just give me a first approach answer of what this is? Mientras vemos si Janet puede escribirnos, miren este sistema en el oeste del Caribe, esta región de coloración gris clara, ¿no? Vamos a hablar de esto más tarde en la sesión, pero ¿alguien me puede decir qué es esto? Simplemente por la coloración y la estructura. No?
Okay, we do have
Yes, I see a comment.
well, okay, yeah.
Yes,
We have a couple.
indeed. Smoke from fires, exacto, fuegos de incendio, sí. Exacto, son cuando ven algo tan denso, generalmente ya es humo, ¿no? Es humo de incendios y vamos a hablar de eso más tarde en la sesión. Do you want to add something, Bernie?
Can you point it out a little more because we have someone that says
Yes.
where? Okay.
It's here. Let me see if I can draw. All this. Well, there's not a defined edge to the north, but it's basically this area. You see it? Esta área de aquí, ¿no? No hay un eje muy definido al norte, pero es básicamente esta área. Honduras, Guatemala, sur de México. All right. So should I start the presentation?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so we're going to start the presentation about the current status of the weather and climate. And animating. Okay, so I want to start with something really quick. I thought this flow was going to work. So what we have at the moment is a Hofmutter diagram that shows the 850 winds over the Pacific. So 120 east is close to the central Pacific, and 80 west is in coast of South America, right? And in red, you have the westerly wind bursts. This is anomalous, right? So anomalies from the west, and then in light blue, you have anomalies from the east. So you can see these westerly wind bursts earlier in January and February, so early in the year. This where you see things strong like this, these generate usually oceanic helping waves. Entonces lo que estamos viendo ahorita son las anomalías de viento de 850 en el Pacífico ecuatorial desde enero hasta abril. Y tenemos al oeste, tenemos 120, well, 120 este. Okay, 120 east. So this is further west. This is in Australia, Indonesia, ¿no? 120 este, y luego tenemos la costa de Sudamérica, sería en 80 oeste, ¿no? Y estas anomalías del oeste tienen en general ondas Kelvin cuando son tan intensas como las que vimos antes de febrero. But something that caught my eye is the following. After April 7, actually between April 7 and April 16 or April 15, we had a westerly wind burst, a sustained westerly wind burst close to the coast of South America. And this is not something transient. So this actually lasted for about a week. So the question is, can anyone tell me, if you've been looking at the tropic, can anyone tell me what was the main driver of this burst? Entonces, acabo de hacer una pregunta para el público. Acá tenemos algo que me llamó la atención, es este pulso de oestes justo frente a la costa de Sudamérica que fue sostenido durante una semana entera. Entonces, ¿alguien que ha estado viendo el trópico en los últimos días me puede decir cuál fue la causa principal de este pulso de los oestes? Anyone can adventure? All hands raised.
Do you see the response from?
Oh, MJO, I just saw it. Yes.
Rudolph, yeah.
Yes,
Rudolph?
correct. MJO.
In Haiti.
In Haiti, yeah. Hi, Rudolph. Yeah, exactly. MJO. When we see something this sustained in time and with a long fetch, it's usually a larger system. If we have a small mesoscale system or synoptic system, it's not going to show up in a Hofmuller clearly. But the fact that we have this long fetch of westerlies that lasts for a while, it has to do with the MJO. And before I continue with the presentation, I wanted to show this. We had a strong MJO pull across the Americas during this period of time, between April 7, April 16, and you can see this on the right. You can see this is velocity potential anomalies in 200 or hectopascals, so the upper troposphere. And whenever you have green, you have basically an environment favorable for more rain because you have more vertical motion, more ascent and more upper divergence. And that also induces the westerlies. Entonces, Rudolf de Haití nos mencionó la Madden Julian y efectivamente esa es la respuesta correcta. Cuando tenemos algo que dura durante mucho tiempo y con un alcance bastante grande, generalmente es un sistema de gran escala, ¿no? No es un sistema mesoescalar ni un sistema sinóptico. Y acá podemos ver que tuvimos un pulso de la oscilación de Madden-Julian bastante intenso que nos cruzó las Américas durante este periodo de tiempo. Okay, and this is a quick scheme of what what the Madden-Julian looks like when you have an upper divergent or green area over you. And what this does, it induces enhanced upper divergence in the upper troposphere, and ascent in the layer, and enhanced convergence in the lower troposphere. So what this does is this stimulates the anomalous westerlies, and this has two effects. One of the effects is that you get more rain, especially once you interact with the Andes, and also since you induce this westerly current, you induce a localized superficial warming of the coast, or near the coast, right? Entonces, estos son los efectos de los oestes. Cuando tenemos estas áreas verdes de la oscilación Madden-Julian sobre el Pacífico Oriental o frente a la costa de Sudamérica, esto estimula la divergencia de altura, los ascensos, y en niveles bajos estimula la convergencia y los oestes, ¿no? Entonces, esto resulta en más lluvia sobre la costa o fuera de la costa, y también ese transporte anómalo del oeste apila, limita el enfriamiento y genera un calentamiento superficial transitorio. Okay, and so you can believe me, this is the average of the last week, and you can see that this warming, right now the coast is cooling already because there are a lot of complex processes along the coast in interaction with the land. But the ocean, you can see these positive anomalies that are already being affected by the current. They're being affected westward already. Entonces, acá podemos ver lo que estaba mencionando para que me crean, ¿no? Podemos ver estas anomalías cálidas que ya están empezando a ser detectadas fuera de la costa y son superficiales en realidad, ¿no? El resultado de esta interacción de los oestes de la Madden-Julian, y también con una onda Kelvin, con la parte trasera de una onda Kelvin oceánica cálida. Okay. So, since we're talking about SST, let's describe the pattern of SST anomalies during the last week. And on the left we have the superficial anomalies, and on the right we have the 300-meter layer anomalies, the top 300-meter layer. However, notice that the last update that I could find was for April 13, so this is not totally up to date, but it's a week behind. Ok, entonces, como estamos hablando de temperatura de mar, voy a mostrar las anomalías superficiales de la última semana a la izquierda, y a la derecha tenemos las anomalías de los 300 metros superficiales, pero noten que esto no está actualizado, ¿no? Esto, la más reciente que pude encontrar es el 13 de abril, ¿no? Hace una semana. Okay, so you can see on the left, let's start with the El Nino region anomaly, and you can see that this is not deep, this is very shallow due to this interaction between the atmosphere and the top layer of the ocean. But there are other areas that have anomalies that are deeper, One of them is off the coast of Argentina. This shows in both graphics. And another area is the Gulf, part of the Gulf of Mexico and the east coast of the United States, ¿no? Como podemos ver, la anomalía que mencioné no es muy profunda en el Pacífico ecuatorial, lo que se refleja en la figura de la derecha. Sin embargo, hay regiones que tienen anomalías más profundas, y una de ellas es la costa de Argentina, frente a la costa de Argentina, y frente a la costa de Norteamérica, ¿no? De Estados Unidos y partes del Golfo de México también. Now, something that looks very impressive to my eye, and I also got a comment from Lixion Avila from NHC yesterday, was the warm anomalies in the Gulf of Mexico and just north of Cuba. These are significant. These are almost 2 to 3 degrees Celsius above average. So this is something to watch out because whenever we're going to get weather systems in the area, the amount of heat that's available from the ocean is higher than normal. So we could expect enhanced rainfall in areas over and downstream from these anomalies. Entonces, algo que me llama la atención son estas anomalías en el Golfo de México, que son bastante significativas. Podemos ver que es un área grande que está por encima de 2 a 3 grados centígrados. Es algo que hay que prestar atención debido a que el contenido de calor disponible en el océano es mucho mayor que lo normal. Por lo tanto, cuando tengamos algún evento que pueda generar lluvia, va a tender a tener precipitaciones mayores, no resaltadas debido a esta disponibilidad de calor y humedad mayor. All right. Something else that is interesting, there's some warm anomaly off the coast of Chile. It's not very significant, but it's been persistent, and we're starting to get rainfall events in southern Chile. It's that time of the year. We actually have that strong cyclone coming. So that's another area to watch out for moderate precipitation whenever we get systems. And then most of the Atlantic and the Caribbean are above average. The area of the tropical wave genesis off the coast of Africa is really warm, which is very interesting. We need to watch out this area, but it's still too early for cyclone formation, right? Entonces, otras áreas que me interesan personalmente son esta zona del sur de Chile, que tienen anomalías positivas. No son muy significativas, pero han sido consistentes. Y como estamos entrando en la época de lluvias y están llegando más sistemas, es otra región que hay que observar. Y luego la región del Atlántico, todo el Atlántico ecuatorial continúa bastante caliente, especialmente esta zona fuera de la costa de África, donde se amplifican las ondas del este, ¿no? Es un poco temprano, pero de todas maneras es una región que hay que monitorear. All right. Any questions so far? Yeah, Bernie.
Comments. I'll mention that Vilma Castro in Costa Rica mentioned that the Pacific coast of Costa Rica has producing little thunderstorms in the middle of the dry season. So
yes,
yeah.
yes.
And
yeah,
Mike and our Mike is on. You're calling Mike Davison, and he says he said mild winter.
Mild winter for South America.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or wherever. Yeah.
I guess South America, since we're starting. Or here it was very mild, but in the eastern U.S.
He said, Gulf of Mexico.
Yes, the Gulf of Mexico is warm. Yeah, it is a reflection of a mild winter. Even though there were a lot of systems, the cold advection hasn't been that impressive. Sí, efectivamente, Mike Davis está mencionando invierno débil por el calentamiento del Golfo de México, y como hemos tenido un montón de sistemas meteorológicos, esto generalmente enfría más, pero la advección fría no ha sido tan fuerte como en otros años, ¿no? Más masas marítimas polares que árticas. Okay. Lo que estaba mencionando antes, Bernie, sobre el comentario de Vilma Castro, estaba mencionando que han habido tormentas en Costa Rica en medio de la época seca, tormentas no tan intensas, pero en partes de Costa Rica. Y efectivamente el mar ha estado bastante caliente, se ha enfriado ligeramente esta semana, pero ha estado bastante caliente fuera de la costa de Costa Rica, efectivamente.
And there's another comment from
Colombia.
Yeah, did you see that one?
Yeah. So the question from Colombia is what incident has the anomaly of the Pacific coast of Colombia? No, la pregunta es qué incidencia tiene la anomalía de temperatura frente a la costa de Colombia. Bueno, comienzo respondiendo en español. Curiosamente, la costa de Colombia no ha estado tan caliente. Si se fijan, está cerca a lo normal. Y esto es debido a que hemos tenido eventos de viento norte a través del Istmo de Panamá. Entonces, cuando tenemos esos eventos nortes, eso enfría el mar, ¿no? Y genera este afloramiento y enfría. Sin embargo, tenemos otros factores que favorecen una temporada de lluvia por lo menos dentro de lo normal, ¿no? Han sido la recurrencia de los vientos del oeste, ¿no? Aparte de la misma climatología que en esta época del año tenemos la ITCZ que regresa, pero además hemos tenido recurrencia de vientos de oeste, un ambiente favorable troposférico en toda la capa para lluvias, y además tuvimos el pulso de la Madeleine Julian que cruzó. Entonces, hay otros factores atmosféricos que sí están favoreciendo que llueva, pero las anomalías del mar en sí no están teniendo un efecto particularmente significativo. Antes de que salga el tema de Colombia, esta anomalía de Niño, que está más que nada en Niño 3, esto generalmente genera secamiento en Colombia, pero como mencionaba, esto es algo transiente y superficial, así que yo no me espero un efecto muy grande de esta anomalía. Lo que va a jugar un rol mayor va a ser la Madeleine Julian, en todo caso, que más bien está volviéndose convergente en este momento. Should I try to translate it in English and summarize it?
Sure, you can, sure. Yeah.
Okay,
And then after that, there's another question from Rudolph Victor.
Okay, sounds great. Okay, so I'm going to try to summarize this in English about Colombia. So usually when you get this Niño 3 warm anomaly, Colombia dries out. But in this case, whatever we're seeing here is superficial and transient. So I don't expect this to be significant. Immediately off the coast of Colombia, though, if you see the anomalies are almost neutral, and this is warming up, but this has been cooled down by these northerly wind events across the Isthmus of Panama. So the ocean is not necessarily conducive for heavy rainfall, but we had moderate rainfall for different reasons. First, the climatology. April is when the ITCC goes back north, and then we had some periods of westerly flow pushing moisture into Colombia, and then the vertical structure of the troposphere has been very favorable for rainfall. We haven't had a lot of shear, and we had a lot of moisture convergence. And finally, the MJO pulls. So I would say I would say this warm anomaly doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get a below normal season. I would expect the MJO to play a stronger role than the SST itself. And you said we have a question for Rudolph, right, Bernie?
Well, and then, well, before you get to that one, there's a follow-up on that because the Julieta from, I think she's from Colombia, probably.
Yeah.
She says the warm anomalies didn't arrive to the Pacific coast of Colombia.
Yes, they did, and yeah, just because of you have these northerly windwards across the Isthmus of Panama, and that blocks the warming. Yeah, that cools down the ocean.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking of it in terms of something else. So okay.
Yes.
Okay. So now, yeah, there's one from Rudolph.
Yeah, I'm reading
Okay.
So Rudolph is saying the rather dry weather we've been having in Hispaniola is tied to what's been going on in the Pacific or something else. Usually we have more rain this time of the year. Okay, so I'll start in English and then I'll translate in Spanish. So Rudolph, what I've been noticing, I don't know if Mike has to say because Mike has more experience than me on that, but I've been noticing that the mid-level ridge pattern has been quite persistent from Hispaniola to the west in the last couple of weeks. There have been some upper troughs, which are usually prominent in April, but they've been limited to areas in the Bahamas and into the northeast. So there just hasn't been a lot of moisture available for this time of the year, and decent synoptic forcing. That's my say. I don't know. I cannot answer if they're related to what's going on in the Pacific or not. I will have to look more thoroughly. But to me, the main cause has been the lack of this strong trough that usually dig further south. I mean, we have had some, but this ridge pattern has been too persistent in the Northwest Caribbean in the last, I would say, 10 days at least, if not more. Entonces, lo que respondía Rudolph es sobre la sequía, la falta de lluvia en Hispaniola, ¿no? En Haití y Dominicana, porque normalmente ellos tienen un pico de lluvias en abril, Para mí, yo no puedo contestar en este momento si está relacionado el calentamiento transiente del Pacífico, pero lo que sí he notado es que durante los últimos 10 días por lo menos hemos tenido un patrón anómalo de dorsal de nivel medio estacionado en el noroeste del Caribe, no oscilante. Y normalmente en esta época del año tenemos vaguadas de nivel medio un poquito más intensas que se profundizan y generan bastante tiempo en las Antillas Mayores. Las vaguadas intensas han estado un poquito más al norte y al este, entonces no han estado entrando con la recurrencia que es normal para la época del año a Dominicana. Esa es mi contribución. No sé si alguien más tiene algo más que agregar, ¿no? No sé, Mike
Okay.
tiene mucha experiencia de
Yeah.
repente.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you see? Yeah. I was going to say, did you see the comments? They're in the, let me see, for you, it's probably just a straight chat box.
yes, I only see the chat box. I don't see who asked, but let's see.
Yeah, so both Gregory Thompson from the Bahamas, and he said a similar thing probably that Rudolph from Haiti was bringing up. And then Mike says, yeah, strong ridge over the Atlantic. So if you want to translate that. And then there's one in the middle there from Oscar, who's probably, I think, in Ecuador.
Yeah, I have to read
for the next weeks. So what is?
Okay. So let's start.
Yes, that's probably further on in your next slide.
Okay, yeah, and I need to go to the rest of the presentation.
Yeah.
Entonces, la pregunta de las Bahamas, ¿no? La pregunta de las Bahamas es que ellos preguntaban si también ha sido el caso para las Bahamas y efectivamente sí hemos tenido un patrón de dorsal de nivel medio muy fuerte, anómalo para esta época. Sin embargo, las Bahamas están un poquito al norte de esa dorsal y ahora vamos a discutir en la presentación. El norte de las Bahamas ha estado un poquito activo y va a seguir activo por periodos, pero hablamos después. Y luego la otra pregunta la otra pregunta es más que nada sobre pronóstico. Oscar, la voy a responder con la presentación, porque tengo un montón de material que mostrar y más gráfico, y va a ser mejor responderla con material gráfico. Ok. Yeah, okay. So should I move on to the presentation? To the rest?
Yes, and you may mention, especially if you're going to answer Oscar's question, you may just mention that he just said, yes, he's from Ecuador, so you may say you'll address it in a slide. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Sí, Oscar, sí, voy a hablar de tu pregunta luego, porque tengo más material gráfico que va a ayudar a responderla. Básicamente, en este momento estamos en un periodo convergente de la Medellín Union que te voy a mostrar. All right. So let me go to the next slide. So let's start speaking about El Nino. There's not a lot to talk about El Nino. Things are relatively quiet. This is a CPC's official statement, so we're still in neutral conditions, if you can see here on the top. SSTs are close to average. They're oscillating a little bit above average and near the average, but still they don't qualify at all for an El Nino. And the atmospheric circulation is generally consistent with neutral conditions. And there's not a lot to talk about, if you can see in the figure. So I'm just going to skip to the next one. Traduciendo, comenzamos hablando del Niño, y en este momento tenemos condiciones de Niño neutrales. No hay mucho que decir sobre el Niño. Todo el sistema es más o menos consistente con un Niño neutral. Así que voy a pasar al siguiente gráfico. And now what we have in the left, we have the Hofmüller diagram. Showing the heat content and the propagation across the Pacific. And on the right, we have the cross-section of temperature near the equator. When we can see in the left, we can see this propagating downwelling Kelvin waves in yellow and oranges. And the last one was generated in January and February from those pulses of westerlies that I showed you. And this is basically dissipating as it approaches the coast. So this is partly responsible for the transient warming in near just west of Galapagos. But if you can see, we have actually an upwelling Kelvin wave, so a cool Kelvin wave propagating towards the coast. So there's going to be a trend for cooling in the next several weeks. Entonces lo que tenemos a la izquierda es el diagrama Hofmüller que muestra la evolución temporal del calor disponible en el océano. Estas son anomalías de calor disponible en la parte superior del océano. y a lo largo de todo el Pacífico, y podemos ver las ondas Kelvin oceánicas que se propagan desde la región de Australia e Indonesia hacia la costa de Sudamérica. Hemos tenido varias ondas Kelvin cálidas, que son las amarillas con naranja, que son las que calientan. Acá la última fue la que se generó en enero-febrero, con las anomalías de viento del oeste que les mostré. En estos momentos está ya disipándose según se aproxima a la costa, y es en parte responsable de este calentamiento superficial que estamos viendo al oeste de Galápagos. Pero sí vemos, también tenemos en este momento una onda Kelvin que se llama una onda Kelvin de afloramiento fría, que se está propagando. Acá podemos verla en la animación, se está propagando en la termoclina. Entonces el calor del océano está confinado a la parte superior, ¿no? Estas anomalías azules son la onda Kelvin esta, de afloramiento, ¿no? Y la tendencia va a ser a que esto más bien enfríe la costa según se va aproximando en las siguientes varias semanas, ¿no? Yo diría más para el mes de mayo, mediados de mayo, fines de mayo. All right, so this is the ENSO outlook, and similar to the last session we had last month, it doesn't look that we're going to go into any El Nino or La Nina phase anytime soon. The probabilistic forecast on the left is showing that neutral conditions are favored into the spring, and once we get to the spring, there's a debate between neutral and La Nina, but it's too early to really know. So at the moment, it looks like it's going to be neutral for a while, and the official forecast says 60% chance that it remains neutral in the summer and remaining neutral into the fall. Entonces, tenemos el pronóstico del ENSO oficial de CPC, y en la izquierda tenemos el pronóstico probabilístico, y podemos ver que, igual que el mes pasado, el pronóstico sigue mostrando condiciones neutrales durante los siguientes meses, y en el otoño incluso ahí compite un poco con las condiciones de la Niña, pero en realidad las chances son iguales. Así que el pronóstico oficial está favoreciendo condiciones neutrales durante el verano con un 60% de chance, permaneciendo neutrales entrado el otoño del hemisferio norte. And to the right, we have the IRA and CPC dynamic models. These are different models, and we can see the ensemble average in the middle in this green solid line. And they say the same thing, mostly neutral conditions. I mean, they're a little bit all over the place once they get to the fall, but for the most part, they stay close to neutral. Y acá tenemos el pronóstico de ICPC, de los modelos dinámicos, y podemos ver que a pesar de que hay mucho mayor dispersión en el otoño, por lo general la mayoría de ellos permanece neutrales, ¿no? And something I forgot to mention, the dynamical average is slightly below neutral, as well as the CPC consolidated. The statistic as is closer to neutral, but basically neutral, ¿no? Y ahora lo que mencioné acá hay tres diferentes curvas. El promedio de los modelos dinámicos es la roja, les había dicho, bueno, pero es la roja. Luego tenemos el promedio estadístico y de los consolidados del CPC, y todos están cerca neutral o ligeramente fríos, más bien. All right, let's move into the managerial oscillation, and this has been very interesting in the last 2 weeks. We had a strong upper divergence. This is not animating. 1 second. Okay, there we go.
And I was going to say,
Yeah.
I noticed I'm not seeing how long his hand has been raised, or the hand has been raised, from Christian, Camilo, Bautista Leon. I'm trying to figure out where.
Okay.
Does he have does that person have a question?
Okay. Okay. Yes. Let me see. Could you let me know which one is the question? Is the last one in the chat box?
No, I don't. Their hand is raised. I don't
Okay.
know if there is a question.
Let me know. If not, we can. Ya, Camilo, si pudieras usar el chat box para escribir la pregunta. Does he have a microphone?
Yeah. Okay. Oops. Okay, I unmuted.
Okay.
Is there a question? Pregunta?
Camilo, estás con tu voz está habilitada. ¿Tienes alguna pregunta o comentario?
Muy buenos días, ¿me copian?
Sí.
Sí.
No, perfecto. Estaba haciendo la pregunta acerca del comportamiento, la incidencia que tiene entonces, en este caso, las ondas Nadia Julians y la interacción que tiene entonces con la temperatura superficial o la anomalía de temperatura superficial del mar, pero ya me contestaron que no, en el caso del Pacífico colombiano, pues no tendría mucha incidencia. Muchas gracias por la respuesta.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So his question has been answered, but he wanted to ask the effects of the Maria and Julian combined with the SST in Colombia. We already talked briefly about that, so we're good. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to keep going with the Maria and Julian oscillation. As you can see, this is the animation for the last month. I slowed it down around here when we start getting these divergent poles coming into the continent. So it moved through relatively quickly. We're in these about approximately 30. If you see the Hofmüller on the right, we're in this 30 to 35 day cycle. So at least that's decent for the forecasting because we can infer that the next divergent pulse of the Maria and Julian might be here around mid-May if we continue in this cycle. But going back to what we have, yeah, we had a strong pulse of the Maria and Julian entering our April 7 and crossing into the Atlantic. And right now, at the moment, we have these enhanced upper divergent pulse over us. If you see it here in the Pacific, sorry, upper convergence. So we're getting into a dry Maria-Julian pattern at the moment, and it's going to persist apparently for the next 2 weeks. So let's go to the forecast of the Maria-Julian. Let's start with this.
So we have another hand raised from Jesus Salazar.
Okay. Hola,
So,
Jesús.
Let me see. There we go. Adelante.
Hello, ¿me escuchan?
Sí, perfecto.
Ok, una pregunta con respecto al Maria and Julian. Y lo que he notado en el transcurso del tiempo es que, por ejemplo, cuando la parte, las líneas verdes de Maria and Julian, la parte que vemos negativa, que nos genera condiciones lluviosas acá sobre Panamá, ¿cuál sería el motivo, razón por cuando él pasa sobre América, pasa muy rápido y nos genera muy pocos días de lluvia? A pesar de que a veces el modelo pronostica que se va a mantener mucho más de lo que se ve, porque en realidad la parte positiva, las anomalías positivas, pareciera que tuviera mayor persistencia acá en América que en otras partes. Pues. Que, por ejemplo, viene la onda Maria Julian, se queda 1, 2, 3 días, nos genera 2, 3 días de precipitación, pero después las lluvias se van. Pero cuando yo reviso Maria Julian, porque los productos Maria Julian se actualizan después de 1 o 2 días, veo que los cambios son como que muy bruscos, ¿no? De una fase que nos genera lluvia, una fase seca que perdura mucho más tiempo de lo que el mismo modelo prevé.
Ok. Voy a traducir tu pregunta y después trato de contestar lo que pueda. Okay. So Jesús from Panama, he's wondering why the Maria and Julian crosses the Americas so quickly, because in other parts of the world, the divergent pulse tends to stay longer. But whenever it approaches the Americas, even when the models are suggesting that it's going to be a prolonged period of enhanced upper divergences, usually very short-lived. So they end up getting only 2 or 3 days of rain, and then it's over. So I'm gonna answer in Spanish and then in English. And okay. Entonces trato de contestar en español. Según lo que yo entiendo, porque yo tampoco soy, digamos, el gurú de la Maria and Julian, pero según lo que yo entiendo, la Maria and Julian busca fuentes de liberación de calor latente. Entonces es muy sensible a las temperaturas del mar y a la convección profunda, a temperaturas cálidas. Y hablando relativamente claro, si estamos en Panamá, en el sur de Caribe, ¿no? Las temperaturas son cálidas, pero comparativamente son frías cuando las ves al lado de las temperaturas de Indonesia, del Océano Índico y del oeste del Pacífico. Entonces la Maria and Julian tiende a aprovecharse de eso, ¿no? Tiende a quedarse más estancada en regiones donde hay mucha disponibilidad de calor y humedad y mucha convección profunda, pero cuando ingresa a regiones donde la convección es mucho más aislada espacialmente, arealmente, entonces le cuesta más hacer la interacción océano-atmósfera y pasa más rápido. Esa es mi interpretación. No sé si alguien más tiene otra contribución, ¿no?
No, digo, entonces,
dime.
Entonces, por ejemplo, esa área de Indonesia, esa parte del Pacífico, de lo que es la parte de Australia, la parte de Oceanía. Generalmente esa parte siempre se mantiene con anomalías cálidas, o ellos tienen periodos donde se mantienen en fase fría, así como por ejemplo acá en otras
No, no es
partes.
tanto, ya, en este caso no es tanto la anomalía, es la temperatura en sí. Porque, cuando tú pasas los 26 a 27 grados centígrados en temperatura de mar, ya tienes mayor convección libre. Y esa región del mundo tiene temperaturas de 29, 30 grados en el mar, ¿no? De 28 a 30. Entonces, cuando ellos tienen anomalías frías, te baja de 28 a 27, entonces el mar sigue generando convección profunda, ¿no? Entonces, son menos dependientes ellos de las anomalías de temperatura de mar. En cambio, la costa americana, si tienes anomalías negativas, ya te baja rápidamente en algunas zonas, ¿no? Del umbral de 26 y ya deja de tener convección profunda y eso hace que la Madeleine Julian no pueda hacer el enganche de interacción en la atmósfera, ¿no?
Ok. Sí, lo que sí observamos, por ejemplo, en el Atlántico y parte del Caribe, como que estos últimos meses se ha mantenido con anomalías cálidas. Ligeramente, sí. A diferencia de otros años que sí, algunas partes hasta negativas, ¿no? Así que eso puede influir en el tema de la lluvia acá, porque estaba viendo, bueno, yo creo que más adelante van a hablar de las predicciones a mediano plazo.
Sí. Sí, ahora vamos a hablar de eso. Sí, pero si te fijas, en esta época del año las temperaturas del Caribe, a pesar de que las anomalías son ligeramente cálidas, siguen, no son tan calientes, ¿no? Están, me parece que aproximadamente 25 o 26 grados, que no es suficiente para generar la convección profunda. Y por otro lado, también tienes los sistemas sinópticos. Entonces tú puedes tener unas anomalías de temperatura de mar muy altas y llegar a superar el umbral de 27, pero si tienes una dorsal de nivel medio intensa, clavada, eso también te va a limitar que se forme la convección profunda. Y la Madeleine Julian necesita de esa convección profunda para conectarse con el calor del océano. El sistema que hace la conexión es la convección. ¿Sí?
Okay,
Por ahí va
comprendo.
mi interpretación. Okay,
Okay.
I'm gonna try to translate this in English. I'm gonna try to be short. So what we were discussing with Jesus is why does the Madeleine Julian propagate so usually quickly across the Americas and then it stays longer over the maritime continent, Indian Ocean, and the Western Pacific? From my interpretation, the Madeleine Julian needs deep convection and follows areas of latent heat release. But convection releases latent heat of the ocean, but into the atmosphere, upper troposphere, but the ocean releases also latent heat, especially when you have very warm temperatures and winds, right? So those conditions, since the ocean is so warm in the west, in the Indian Ocean, in the maritime continent, Western Pacific, the temperature is so warm that you always have deep convection. So the Madeleine Julian tends to like that area and tends to slow down once it gets there. But once it comes to us, the convection in the Western Hemisphere close to the Americas is usually more isolated in area. The deep convection is more isolated. So it's harder for the Madeleine Julian to establish this oceanic atmospheric interaction because there's not sufficient amount of convection to do it unless you have a lot of convection, right? But for the most part, that doesn't happen. So, all right. Any other comment before we continue? We move on a little bit further. I see that someone, yes, Bernie.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mike said probably due to atmospheric Kelvin waves, although I think, let's think about it, and good discussion. How about, since we're 45 minutes into the hour, how about you move along then? Or
yes, I know
is this a good place to stop? Yeah, good discussion, although.
Yeah, discussion, but yeah, we have a lot to talk about in this session. Okay, so I'm gonna move quickly, because there's a lot to talk about. So these are the forecasts from the GFS and the ECMWF. This is the phase diagram of the Madeleine Julian. Basically, when for us to get a lot of rain in the Americas, you want this to be between 7, 8, and 1, and you want it to be far away from the circle. So you can see that, especially 8 and 1, you can see that the Madeleine Julian was in these regions between April 10 into April 14, 15, that it got stalled, and now it's going into a region that is almost perfectly favorable for dry conditions over us, or upper convergent pattern. The European model is doing the same thing, so there's some agreement between the models. They're pushing the Madden Julian into an area that it's going to put us in this dry pattern for the next 2 weeks. And after that, they don't really know what's going to happen as they go closer to the middle of the circle. Entonces, los pronósticos de Madden Julian muestran que efectivamente estuvo en la región 8 y 1, que son muy favorables para las Américas, no para lluvias, entre el 9 y el 15, 16 de abril, y ahora está saliendo y está entrando más bien en la región del Océano Índico. Por lo tanto, estamos entrando en un patrón bastante seco, a gran escala, convergente en altura. El europeo hace lo mismo, pero luego de una semana, semana y media no saben qué hacer, ¿no? Ingresan al centro del círculo, lo que sugiere que se va a desorganizar. And these are the forecasts for three different models. The empirical wave propagation, which just propagates waves, the CFS, the climate forecast system, and the GFS on the right. And what we can see that at least the three of them are capturing the dry phase of the Madden Julian through the end of April. And after that period, there are some discrepancies. There is a hint of the GFS and the EWP that we may get the next divergent phase around mid-May, which is consistent with the current 35-day propagation, but the signal is still too weak. So what we can say from this graphic is that next 2 weeks are going to be upper convergent or dry for the most part. And then we might get MJO enhancement in mid-May, but it's still too early to say. But other than that, the confidence is not very high. Entonces, estos son los pronósticos, digamos, en el plano de la Madden Julian, en Hofmüller, de modelo de propagación de ondas empíricas, el CFS en el medio y el GFS en la derecha. Los tres están de acuerdo con este patrón seco o convergente en altura durante las siguientes 2 semanas o hasta fin de mayo, y, fin de abril. Y luego, si tuviéramos una fase divergente, es posible que ocurra segunda mitad de mayo, entre el 15 y el 25 de mayo. Los dos modelos de la izquierda más o menos lo muestran, pero la confianza es un poquito baja. No, lo único que me da confianza es que sabemos que estamos en un patrón de 30 a 35 días, pero en el medio hay muchas discrepancias. Entonces la confianza es baja después, una vez que entremos a principios de mayo. All right, and this is also, I'm going to dart here to look at the slider more, but this is 200 winds during the last week, and in the top we have the observed, and in the bottom we have the anomalous, and this is 200, so it's upper troposphere, but we can see this anomalous upper ridge pattern over the Gulf of Mexico and Northwestern Caribbean, which has been very persistent. And even though the upper ridges do not relate strictly to dry conditions because they can ventilate convection, the mid-level ridges also been in the same region. So this has been limiting precipitation, which is usually occasionally heavy in April in the Northern Caribbean. Entonces, aquí son los vientos de 200. Arriba tenemos los observados de la última semana y abajo los anómalos. Y podemos ver claramente que los anómalos, cómo se ve este patrón anómalo de dorsal de altura. Este es un dorsal de altura, no de nivel medio. Entonces, las de altura no necesariamente matan la convección porque pueden ventilarla, pero la de nivel medio ha estado también en una zona bastante parecida, lo que en parte explica las condiciones de lluvia por debajo de lo normal en el Caribe. Then something else, in the southern hemisphere, we had this anomalous trough, northern Argentina, Paraguay, and this has been a limiting activity to mostly Brazil. Brazil has been very active, as you're going to see. ¿No? En Sudamérica tenemos esta vaguada de altura durante las últimas semanas anómala en esta región de norte de Argentina, sur de Brasil, Paraguay, y eso ha limitado a la convección a la región más bien tropical de Brasil, que ha estado bastante activa, como vamos a ver. I'm going to move on quickly. There's a lot to talk, but we don't have time. So 850 winds, vientos de 850. What we can see in 850 in the Caribbean during the last week, we can see that we have this enhanced southwesterly flow into the Bahamas, and the Bahamas have several rounds of fronts and some isolated convection with this southwesterly transport. And then in the Caribbean, the winds have been slightly above average for the Eastern Caribbean, but then you can see these enhanced westerlies in the coast of Central America, which have been sufficient to trigger some convection in Costa Rica and also in Guatemala, El Salvador, and southern Mexico. So most of this convection hasn't been too significant in terms of rainfall amounts, but these westerlies have been sufficient to do that. Luego, viendo los vientos de 850, quería mostrar que tenemos ese transporte persistente del suroeste en Florida, las Bahamas. Ha habido mucho tiempo en el sur de Estados Unidos y las Bahamas han tenido algunos frentes con algunas tormentitas ocasionales en el extremo norte. Y luego tenemos los oestes en la región tropical que han favorecido lluvias ligeramente por debajo de lo normal en Costa Rica y también está un poquito más activo que lo normal en el norte de Centroamérica. Something else that is very interesting is this subtropical, well, not subtropical moisture connection, but this northwesterlies into southern Chile, and this is another region that has had quite a bit of rain for this time of the year, ¿no? Otra cosa que me llama la atención son estos noroestes hacia el sur de Chile, y esta es otra región que ha tenido una decente cantidad de lluvia durante los últimos días. Now, looking at the precipitation anomalies, first on the left, you have the CMAP precipitation last month on the bottom and last 5 days on the top. And you can see that during the last 5 days, you can see the above normal precipitation off the coast of Costa Rica. You can also see a signal of above average over Costa Rica, not too significant, but yeah, it's been raining for this time of the year there, thanks to the westerlies and the MJO. But then once you get to eastern Colombia into the Guyanas, it's been below average. Just so you know, this graphic, look at the date. This is the latest I could get, April 13th, so it's not updated. The Guyanas just got some heavy rainfall in the last 4 days. So this is very likely different at the moment, but this wasn't captured by this analysis. Entonces lo que tenemos ahora son las anomalías de precipitación del último mes abajo, de CMAP, y de los últimos 5 días arriba. Y podemos ver que lo que resalta son estas anomalías positivas frente a Costa Rica, y también en Costa Rica, pero una vez que entramos al continente norte de Sudamérica, excepto el oeste de Colombia, han estado por debajo de lo normal. Y quería mencionar que, miren la fecha, 13 de abril, esto no está actualizado, esto no captura las lluvias intensas que tuvieron las Guyanas durante los últimos 4 días. Okay, so let's move on to higher resolution, and these are the 2 last slides, so we can talk on the slider. And what we have here, yeah, you can see that indeed, Costa Rica and Panama, with the CMORPH, they also show up as above average. And also, since the CMORPH has higher resolution and captures convection from satellites, you can see above average along the west coast of Colombia that doesn't show either on the CMAT and barely shows on the GOSH, the rain gauge data. So yeah, locally, Ecuador and Western Colombia have also been above average from the westerlies. You can see above average in Florida, and most of the Caribbean below average, as you guys mentioned. Entonces, con las anomalías de CMORPH, que son de mayor resolución y basadas en satélite, también podemos ver que efectivamente sí ha habido algunas regiones con anomalías positivas en el oeste de Colombia, Panamá y Costa Rica, y las anomalías bastante altas, positivas en el sur de Estados Unidos y todo el Caribe por debajo de lo normal. Y Venezuela y las Guyanas han estado ligeramente por debajo, y acá se ve la lluvia fuerte que ingresaron a las Guyanas alrededor del 19 a 20 de abril. Okay, and finally, for South America, high resolution, as I mentioned, you can see the above average rainfall in southern Chile from Puerto Montt, Valdivia to the south with these northwesterlies. And Brazil has been very, very, very active for April. Most of tropical Brazil and the north coast of Brazil. They got a lot of rain this year. They've been above average for a while, especially the north coast of Brazil. Y ahora, para terminar, tenemos a Sudamérica y podemos ver efectivamente las anomalías positivas en el sur de Chile, ¿no?, que se muestran en los 2 gráficos, y Brasil ha estado muy por encima de lo normal, ¿no? Toda la zona tropical, incluso la costa norte, ya llevan meses por encima de lo normal. And I think I'll stop with this, which doesn't leave much time, but this is what I have. Any questions or comments?
I'll make one comment. Regina from Brazil did send me a PowerPoint. I have not been able to download it at home here. It's still trying to download. So just slower internet at home and doing other things. So I'm sure she had a little bit of information on the above rainfall there. So.
Okay.
Otherwise, since you have slider there, do you want to just give a few highlights on, say, okay, we were seeing at the beginning, you showed a little bit of smoke in Central America.
Yes.
And I was just thinking, oops. One of the other products you can show, and if I can send it to you, maybe you could look at the link for, I was going to say, the only thing I was thinking about showing had to do with one of the higher resolution fire detection. So first we can look at it with GOES here. We see a lot of smoke. And if you can pull up one of the fire products,
Okay.
as we were discussing last week. So
yes, let me get this out of the way. And anyone in particular?
Well, you can start with the fire temperature one.
Let's start with the fire temperature one. Okay.
Yeah. Because this is
right.
Yeah, and this is on both the
I'm gonna zoom in.
geostationary and
Oops.
this RGB can be made with both the geostationary and the polar satellites.
Ok, entonces lo que vamos a hacer ahora, vamos a jugar un poquito con el slider. Estamos viendo los incendios que hubo en Honduras mientras esto carga. Yeah, for some reason I need to reload. Estamos viendo los incendios que hay en Honduras. En el geocolor se ve el humo bastante claro. Y vamos a empezar a ver cómo, si podemos encontrar los focos calientes con diferentes productos existentes, ¿no? Entonces vamos a comenzar con ese producto que se llama Fire Temperature de Cira, o temperatura de fuego de Cira. Y este es un producto que está disponible no solamente en los satélites geoestacionarios, sino también ha sido producido con los satélites polares. Okay, Bernie.
Okay, and I was just going to say, since I've been looking at this for a number of years, I know a lot of the smoke may be due to smaller fires, and we may not this early in the day be seeing them because this product highlights a lot of the more intense fires. When we're seeing red, it means that we're really only seeing the contribution from the 3.9 micron channel, which is in the shortwave infrared. And we're not seeing as much from some of the near infrared imagery that are comprising some of the other components.
Okay, great. Entonces, en ese producto, vamos a regresar un segundito al geocolor. Entonces podemos ver que hay un montón de humo, pero si se fijan, los incendios están en otra, principales que estamos viendo están en otra zona, ¿no? Y la razón principal es que este producto captura los incendios más grandes. Si el incendio es muy pequeño y no es muy caliente, no lo va a ver, solamente se va a ver el humo y el satélite no va a ser capaz de ver el foco cálido. Entonces, lo que está haciendo este producto es, el color rojo sale de la banda 3.9 micrómetros o el canal del infrarrojo de onda corta, ¿no? Shortwave IR. Entonces, este canal contribuye cuando los incendios son... bueno, este canal contribuye más que los otros canales del Near IR, porque para poder ver el incendio en los canales del Near IR, que son las bandas 5 y 6, ¿no? Las bandas de onda un poquito más corta, necesitas incendios muy, muy calientes. Si no tienes esos incendios muy, muy calientes, no se van a ver en esas bandas. Okay.
Right. So the gist is, depending upon what time of the day you look at this, you may more readily see fires than others. And so then the question is, what other channels or products might you look at?
Ok, entonces este canal también tiene una dependencia del ciclo diurno, así que van a haber diferentes incendios, no un mismo incendio, o mejor dicho, un mismo incendio se va a ver diferente dependiendo de a qué hora del día lo miren. Entonces ahí viene la pregunta para el público. La pregunta es, ¿qué otros productos podemos usar para ver incendios? ¿Alguien puede proponer algún otro producto?
Yeah, and as you look at the window, there's been a lot of other
A lot of comments.
questions, yeah, on what we were talking about previously. So we can just quickly show a result, and then you can get back to that, to those questions. And this also brings up for me in that a week ago, we were looking at some of the imagery and we were just starting to see a few fires. And just over a week, things have dried out considerably and we're seeing a lot more agriculture fires and hence a lot more smoke. Although even still today, we're not seeing super big fires. We're seeing a lot of smaller fires. So Jesus says you can use band 7, which is the 3.9.
Okay.
So you can pull that one up.
Here's band 7.
Yeah.
Yep.
So in this case, the fires are the bright white.
Yep.
And I
Use
think
the
it's,
slider.
yeah, and
Right.
if that's, yeah, and if you wanted to see the color bar, then, I mean, not for you right now, Jose, because I know it might take time to reload.
Yeah, reload. Yeah, you
But
need
you'd
to
have to
load first.
load that as first, yeah.
Right. Entonces, si ustedes quieren ver las barras de colores en el slider, tienen que cargar el producto primero, ¿no? Si lo cargas después, no vas a abrir la barra de colores. Okay.
And then the other one for longtime users of, say, Ramstis Online or Ramstis in Central America, what other product might you use?
A ver, pregunta para los usuarios de Ramstis en Centroamérica. ¿Qué otro producto podrían usar?
We used to call it something different than we call it now. So I guess that could be a trick question.
Sí, ahí dice que el producto ha cambiado del nombre, así que es una pregunta con truco.
So if I'm not seeing the answer I want to see, so why don't you, can you quick put
Yeah.
the albedo product? Yeah.
Yeah, show with albedo.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't overlay, but it's okay. You can see. Yeah, you can see more fires. Whoa, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if you, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, Bernie, I'm
Yeah.
listening.
So it depends upon if you're,
Mexico has a lot of fires today. Look at that. But yeah, you can definitely see more on the show with albedo. Sí. México tiene un montón de incendios el día de hoy. Definitivamente se ve más en el producto del albedo de onda corta.
so it depends upon what you're looking for.
Depende qué es lo que
Sí.
estás buscando, ¿no?
The small ones or the big ones.
Los
Sí.
pequeños o los grandes. Sí. Entonces, con el albedo de onda corta se van a ver más incendios pequeños que con el otro, ¿no? Con los otros productos se tienen a ver los incendios más grandes, más calientes también. Okay. So entonces, so Bernie, by noticing that there's a lot of smoke but not seeing too many impressive hot spots, you can infer that there's a lot of small grass fires, right?
Yes, and you know, even when I'm looking at it with you, it looks a little different than usual. And from what I was looking at on my screen, as the day heats up as well, we'll see more fires pop up. And that's likely because, you know, if they're agricultural fires, they may wake up, have their coffee and go out and burn the field, you know, or as you have heating during the day, that might help them become a little larger so the satellite can see them.
Okay. Entonces los incendios tienden a crecer durante el día, ¿no? So it's mostly because of the heating, right? Solar heating.
Yeah, and also, yeah, and you know, if they're an agricultural fire, they, and you have cooling at night, you know, at least no sun, you have the fire that lays down a little bit too.
And we spoke about the wind, right?
Right, right.
Sí, entonces durante el día los incendios tienden a crecer, especialmente si son incendios agriculturales, porque por un lado tienes mayor calentamiento, no por radiación solar, y durante el día hay un poco más de viento. Entonces, por la mezcla turbulenta, ¿no? Los termales hacen que el viento empiece a formar ráfagas en la superficie. Entonces, esos dos factores tienden a hacer que la cantidad de incendios aumente durante el día, ¿no? Es más favorable durante el día que en la noche. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else? I see there's a lot of comments, but
Yeah,
the
that was
time is limited.
one thing that Mike says is show the twin for the Tradewind Inversion. Did you have
Yes.
is that a product?
That's a
Yeah.
good idea, yeah.
Yes.
And we're going to
Yeah, 'cause
talk
I-
about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to go to the Caribbean domain. Actually, Mexico.
Oh, that might be another thing to quick point out in Slider after you show the inversion, because another feature we saw with the smoke was
Yeah.
that there were a few areas where it was a little clearer than others.
Yeah. Let me put this up. So, geocolor.
Yeah, and I see that at least from Nestor in Paraguay, he
Uruguay.
mentioned that. Well, he said in, well, okay, is he
Oh.
from Uruguay? Okay, he said in
let me read.
Paraguay there's incendios, there's fires now, incendios.
Oh, he's mentioning
Yeah.
Paraguay as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is still going to take a while to load, but let's see if we can see them. Okay, so I'm going to show, well, these loads, I'm going to go to the twin, and this is an algorithm we have developed at the international desk, and it evaluates, diagnoses the strength and elevation of the Tradewind inversion. So whenever we have browns, we're going to talk about this next week actually, but whenever we have browns, it is suggesting that we have a low-lying inversion, and whenever we have bigger boxes, the bigger the box, the stronger the inversion. And the flow is an average of different levels in the mid-troposphere. So you can see, in this case, you can see the mid-level ridge centering just northwest of the Yucatan Peninsula. So you can see the circulation, and you can see that all these areas have a strong inversion. In the morning, especially, now the inversion is starting to break according to the model, right, in the mountains of Central America. But by sunrise, which is captured by the image, or at least the early morning, you can see that we did have an inversion, a low-lying inversion in Honduras, between 850 and 950, pretty low, and in the Gulf of Mexico. So that is consistent with the fact that we can see the smoke building up and spreading horizontally, because you cannot mix up with the clean air that is above the inversion. Right.
Well, that leads into, because I don't think you've mentioned what's up next week, and we'll be sending an email. So.
Okay, let me translate this quickly and then I'll make the announcement. Okay. Entonces, esto es una herramienta que hemos desarrollado en los escritores internacionales. Vamos a hablar de esto más las semanas que viene, ahorita vamos a mencionarlo, pero básicamente esto evalúa la intensidad y la elevación de la inversión de los alisios, y también te muestra el flujo de nivel medio promediando varios niveles de la troposfera media. Y podemos ver acá tenemos una dorsal de nivel medio muy bien establecida, bien robusta en el centro Golfo de México, y con la inversión que está entre 950 y 850 en Honduras y casi cerca de 950 en el Golfo, ¿no? Es una inversión muy llanita, muy baja y bastante intensa, ¿no? El tamaño de cajas te habla de intensidad. Y eso es consistente con lo que estamos viendo. Let me go back to Honduras. Con lo que estamos viendo de los incendios del humo no pudiéndose mezclar con el aire limpio encima de la inversión, sino se acumula y se empieza a propagar horizontalmente, ¿no? Esto es consistente con lo que estamos viendo en el macro tweet o el algoritmo. Okay, so and speaking of this, I'm gonna make the announcement now, but Bernie and I are gonna send the invitation later today. So we have developed 5 different tools in the last, I would say, well, 4 of them in the last 6 months, but this twin is a little bit older, and about in a year or two, right? In the last year and a half, we have developed 5 different forecast tools, and in WPC, and we're gonna make a session solely on the description of these 4 tools. Again, the time is gonna be short because there are 4 tools, but we're gonna speak about them and how to read them and how to use them to improve your weather forecast. And Mike Davison and I have been using these already for several months, and we're very happy with them. We believe that they really work, and they are improving our forecast practices. So we're going to send the announcement later today, but next week at the same time, 15 UTC on Wednesday, April 29, Bernie and I are going to conduct a session on these tools. We're going to do it in English. In English first, right? In English first, and then we're going to replicate the same session in Spanish on Wednesday, May 6th. Do you wanna say something, Bernie?
No, I was just going to say what you just said. One's in English and one's in Spanish, just to, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, one's in English and one's in Spanish. Entonces, como les mostraba, tenemos estas herramientas que hemos desarrollado en los escritorios de la Noaa. Son diferentes herramientas que nos ayudan con el pronóstico, son algoritmos, ¿no? Tenemos, por ejemplo, de tiempo severo para Sudamérica, así como mostramos el twin. Y lo que vamos a hacer es hacer una presentación para explicar cómo se usan estos algoritmos, ¿no? Cómo interpretarlos y cómo usarlos para mejorar sus pronósticos del tiempo. Hemos desarrollado en los últimos 2 años 5 algoritmos, así como desarrollamos el GDI, hemos desarrollado algoritmos para inversión de los alisios. Este es para tiempo severo en coordinación con Néstor, Santayana de Uruguay, y vamos a hacer una sesión el próximo miércoles 29 de abril a la misma hora. Esta sesión va a ser en inglés, ¿no? Para describir las herramientas, y vamos a replicar la misma sesión el miércoles 6 de mayo a la misma hora, 15 UTC, en español, ¿no? Entonces, en estas sesiones vamos a explicar cómo se interpretan estas herramientas y cómo pueden usarlas para mejorar su pronóstico. Les quería comentar que Mike y yo las venimos usando ya hace varios meses y estamos muy contentos porque realmente estamos convencidos de que nos han ayudado a mejorar y a refinar nuestros pronósticos meteorológicos, ¿no? Te ayudan a ganar confianza. Así que les recomiendo y los invito a que participen en la del español, como les decía, el 6 de mayo y la del inglés el 29 de abril. Y Bernie y yo vamos a mandar la invitación ahora por la tarde, ¿no? La invitación formal. All right. Any comment, question, or additional remark?
Oops, I'm trying to get my mic. Boy, there were a lot of individuals on the call today, and there are lots of questions.
Yes.
If you have the time, you can answer them, and we can have some discussion.
I'll be happy to, yeah.
Okay. And if people need to drop off, that's fine too. So you can say that as well.
Ok, entonces hemos tenido una sesión muy productiva, bastante grande, con muchos participantes, y hay todavía una lista larga de preguntas. Yo tengo tiempo y las voy a responder con mucho gusto, pero oficialmente la sesión ha terminado, ¿no? Porque nos hemos pasado casi 15 minutos de la hora. Si ustedes tienen algo más que hacer, pueden retirarse sin ningún problema, pero los que tengan un poquito de tiempo adicional y se quieran quedar, digamos, unos 15 minutos más máximo para hablar de las preguntas, bienvenidos a quedarse. All right. Okay, so
Okay, so you can see the questions. So you can, I'll give you a minute and you can scan through them.
yeah,
And-
if you could help me, the one thing that I cannot see on the chat that would help me is who made the
Who
question.
is it from? Okay.
Right, I only see
So-
audience questions, so that brings that in context, so it's easier for me to understand.
Okay. Without going too far up.
Yeah.
Okay, so initially, yes, I'm sorry, I couldn't bring up what Regina sent to me, although it says in the northeast of Brazil, they had a lot of rain, especially due to the ITCZ and the MJO. So that's just a comment from Brazil.
Okay. Pues Regina estaba mencionando que en el noreste de Brasil han tenido mucha lluvia, que lo mostramos en las anomalías de precipitación, y esto principalmente por la interacción de la ITCZ, que ha estado bien activa, con la fase divergente de la mar en Julian.
And so the Zicas, is that the
Zacas. South Atlantic Convergence
Okay.
Zone.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Nestor mentioned something about the dipole of the Zacas.
Okay.
And that might have been in association with the heavy rain that you were talking about, because yeah, because right after that he also talks about it brought more rain to Brazil and very little to South America. That one.
Ok, sí.
Okay.
Entonces, Nelson estaba mencionando sobre el dipolo de las Zacas, ¿no? Que lo que sucede es cuando las Zacas se formen en Sudamérica. Let me go to the map. Let's go to the slider. So what happens is, bueno, en Spanish. Lo que sucede es cuando la Zacas se forma en Brasil, ¿no? Bueno, puede ser incluso en Paraguay o Bolivia, ¿no? Pero generalmente se forma en Brasil, y voy a tratar de dibujar, no la tenemos en este momento, pero voy a tratar de dibujarla, ¿no? Es una región de convergencia que tiende a formarse desde el Atlántico hacia el oeste de la Amazonía. Entonces,
And I think we talked about that last time, early March too. It affected
so,
Brazil
yeah.
quite a bit then. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Entonces, el flujo asociado a las Zacas es el siguiente, ¿no? Tenemos flujo del norte húmedo tropical en la parte norte que converge en las Zacas, pero también tenemos flujo sur seco en la parte sur. Entonces, toda esta humedad del norte que viene desde el Atlántico y la Amazonía es atrapada en las Zacas, y esto genera déficit de precipitación en el sur. Este es el dipolo al que se refiere Néstor, ¿no? El dipolo de precipitación asociado a las Zacas. Mucha lluvia en Brasil y muy poca lluvia en Uruguay, Argentina, Paraguay y sur de Brasil. Yep.
Okay, and we had it answered in the chat what CMOR stands for, and Sheldon provided that answer of CPC morphing technique. So we'll have to do a little bit more. We're trying to, I'm attempting to update our web pages, and hopefully we'll have a little bit more background information on some of these products so that we can refer people to those as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Something we need to do.
Yeah. And then the other one about the Zacas was by Jose Farinha.
Jose Farinha, okay, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And I'm not, I can't see where he's from.
He's from Paraguay.
Okay.
He's from Paraguay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he had another one because this year we had the pattern, okay, of Zacas, okay. And that was right above that's a lot of fires comment from Gregory Thompson. Okay. And Sheldon and Mike, oops. Clicked on the wrong thing. Okay, so then we had a little bit of the fires, and okay, so Vilma had one comment there that I think, and then I think we've gotten most of them, is where did Vilma's go? She's already left, but she says it's up higher just right above the one that I said was from Jose Farina.
Okay.
And it said
Yeah,
it's very good to know that the rains in Costa Rica and Panama are anomalies.
Yeah, I'm trying to. There's so many questions. I'm trying to find
Yeah.
where you are in the chat.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's
So right,
under the. Okay, I see it.
it's right
Es
under
muy-
the sea
I got it.
Yeah.
Es muy útil saber que las lluvias sobre Costa Rica y Panamá son anómalas, pues los agricultores comienzan a sembrar y si no llueve después puede perder la siembra. Yeah, she's commenting that it's very useful to know that these rains in Panama, Costa Rica have been anomalous, just because the agriculturists tend to start planting things and then it doesn't rain and they get into trouble with the crops. Yeah.
Yeah, so if we're going to have a dry spell now that may affect more of Costa Rica, then hopefully that won't be too much of an issue either. So
Right. Yeah.
drier.
Yeah, it's gonna be drier for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think, and then I noticed that Jean Cicernos has had his hand raised, so I can unmute
Yeah, sure.
him and see if he has. Now he's self-muted, so if he wants to talk, he can unmute himself. Juan, si quiere hablar.
Juan,
Parece yeah.
Puedes hablar.
He'll have to unmute.
Tienes que quitar el mute en tu computadora.
Okay. Otherwise, a great session all, and I hope everybody's staying safe and happy Earth Day. ¿Cómo se dice?
Feliz Día de la Tierra.
Yeah, okay.
Sí, feliz Día de la Tierra.
Okay.
Bueno, entonces sí, ha sido una muy buena sesión. Muchas gracias a todos por participar, por estar presentes, por haberse dado el tiempo y feliz Día de la Tierra y manténganse muy saludables y los mejores deseos para ustedes. So the next session,
Yeah.
Bernie, is on, do you have the
Let me
date?
see, May 20th, is that right?
I think so, May 20th. Okay.
Oops.
Bueno, nos vemos en un mes. We'll see you in a month.
I just I can't stand up and look at the calendar. So it's
That's
a
okay,
Wednesday.
okay.
It's a Wednesday.
It's a
I think it's May
Right.
20.
It has to be May 20 because the April has 30 days. So yeah, it's May 20.
Okay.
El 20 de mayo nos volvemos a reunir en la siguiente sesión del enfoque regional. Esto
Okay,
para los que son nuevos, esto lo hacemos todos los meses.
Yeah. And then next week, one session in Spanish on tools. And the following week, English next week. Sorry, I got that mixed up. English next week on your tools at WPC and Spanish the following week. Yeah.
Right. Y recuerden que vamos a mandar la invitación ahora más tarde, pero vamos a hacer una sesión sobre las herramientas que mencioné en la siguiente semana a la misma hora, el miércoles 29 de abril a las 15 UTC, en inglés primero, y después hacemos la misma sesión para explicar las herramientas en español una semana después, el 6 de mayo también a las 15 UTC. Okay.
Okay. So great.
Ok, muchas gracias por participar. Y
Okay.
nos vemos ojalá la próxima semana y si no, el 20 de mayo.
Okay. And Gregory, next week there's a special session on tools from the WPC International Desk. And next week's in English, the following week is in Spanish. So, and we'll send an email out soon.
Yes.
He was just asking about that. So
Yeah, since you're pointing this to Gregory, I'm sure they're aware of it, but I want you to point out to the severe weather macro, Greg. Look at it for Saturday and Friday. It's giving some severe weather for you guys. Most of it is going to be north of you guys, but it's almost over Freeport, so we need to watch that out. Just so you keep that in mind. You may get some severe weather on Friday and Saturday in the northern Bahamas. That's it.
So, and am I reading that right? For how do we receive? There's something from Kevin Chicame. Let's see, where is he from? Colombia.
Okay.
Is he asking about how to receive the invitation? Is he on the list? Are you on the list?
Yes, that's the thing. Since there's still a bunch of people here. I have to translate that to Spanish. We need to let them know about emailing you so they can be on the list. Entonces, a lo que les quería mencionar, a los que no están en la lista de distribución para estos entrenamientos, tienen que escribirle a Bernie y ella los coloca en la lista para que puedan recibir los anuncios, ¿no? De todas estas sesiones que hacemos mensuales. Do you want me to write your email on the chat box?
Sure. Well, it should be if they mouse over my name.
Oh, okay.
Or can you do that? I guess that's something I can
Yeah,
find
I'm not
out.
sure. I think is it okay with you if I write it on the chat box?
Sure, sure. And Arlene has her hand raised, so I didn't see
Okay.
that earlier. So go ahead, Arlene.
Hi, I was just asking about the next week's instructions. Will they be available as a recording? Because I don't think I'll be able to attend. There is a Western Atlantic Regional Oceanic Workshop
Okay.
being
Yes.
organized and for the 28th and 29th of April. So in case there are people like me who won't be able to attend, will it be recorded?
Yes. Hopefully, I have this down pat. I'm working from home and I'll see how today's session recorded.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Thank
plan
you.
on recording it and making adjustments if to
Okay.
have it available. Okay?
Okay,
So yes.
we will publicize it once you send out the official announcement. I'll
Okay.
make sure to reiterate for our forecasters within CMO that they are aware of it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you, Arlene.
Mhm.
All right.
Oops. And if Adrian has his hand up, Adrian Ramirez, I think he's in Colombia. He's self-muted.
Okay. Adrián,
So-
puedes hablar. Adrián de Colombia.
Can we have Gregory? I'm not hearing anything, so I'll unmute Gregory. You
Okay.
have something to say?
No, what is it? Good afternoon. It's good afternoon now. I was actually, you gave me the information, the
Okay.
session for next week. Wanted to
Okay.
find out. I stepped away from my computer, so I didn't hear all the information.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Jose left already?
No, I'm here. I'm here.
He's still there.
Yeah, you talked about this severe weather macro that you have.
Yes.
Something coming up on Saturday.
Yes, I'm looking at Friday and Saturday, both days.
That is
Actually,
this week.
Yeah, look at it. You see my screen?
Yeah. Yeah, I just went to the site.
Okay, great. Yeah, whenever you see what you wanna see to forecast severe weather are these boxes overlaid over shaded areas.
Gotcha.
Right. I'm gonna explain more tomorrow. Basically, the shaded areas, they look into different parameters that associate with severe weather, and whenever it sees that many parameters are already above a threshold, it places a shaded color. And the boxes are more related strictly to the occurrence of hail.
Yeah, I got
But
you. Yeah.
hail is related also with downdrafts and gusty winds, which is mostly what happens to you guys.
Yes.
In this case, what catches my eye, I don't know if you see that you have the -9 isotherm.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah,
Right across.
that's a 500 temperature, and we've noticed, you probably know more for your region, but we've noticed that sometimes the macro would suggest hail, but if the temperature is above -9, it melts before reaching the surface in the Caribbean, right? But whenever the 500 temperatures are below -9, there's a much higher risk that the hail is actually going to reach the surface.
Okay.
So yeah, be aware for Friday and Saturday. I'm showing Friday at 18 UTC. You have an upper shortwave trough crossing you guys, and on Saturday you get on Saturday, I don't see necessarily a shortwave trough, but the macro is giving a higher chances for you guys as well. So
still keeping something across us.
Yeah, so keep an eye on that. Yeah,
Gotcha.
there's been a lot of severe weather in the southern U.S. this week, and it's going to continue. So we're on this severe weather pattern, persistent pattern for the next 3 or 4 days.
Yeah,
for the
they
southern
actually had,
US.
they actually had something move off of South Florida. I think it was the Homestead area last week.
Okay.
Some of it made it to Bimini, but by the time it got to Bimini, it was already started weakening. It seems as though that bit of energy had already swung towards the east of Eleuthera. So
Okay. It jumped us. It jumped you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much. Go ahead.
And if I remember from last year, even looking at I think it was the day cloud convection one, or the day cloud phase distinction, and then overlaying, because when that helps you discern a little bit when clouds are, or you're starting to get icing, or ice in it, and then overlaid with some lightning.
Right.
Lightning also helps indicate some conditions for hail. So
I'm going to do it. You can see it?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will definitely be looking forward to the session next week. But we will keep an eye out for the weekend, though.
Okay.
A couple of us, couple of the forecasters are working from home. I'm fortunate.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad Trinar was able to leave in time.
Yep, I called the Freeport office to find out if he was back, because my daughter's actually stuck.
Oh, where is she?
She was actually in the epicenter of that outbreak in New York, but I have a son that lives in Connecticut, so the campus had closed down. They moved her. They asked him to leave the dorm, and she went with up there by my son. But she's now in Florida with my sister. So as soon as the borders are open, I'm trying to get her home.
Right. Well, at least she's in a safer place.
Yeah, she's fine right now, but there's no flights. No flights are in and out of the Bahamas right now. So that's
a lot of places are in that situation. Yeah.
That's my present situation right now. So
Okay.
But everybody stay safe, because this thing doesn't pick and choose. It just takes everybody.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna unmute Kathy Ann. She has her hand raised. See if she's still there. Hey, Kathy Ann.
Yeah, I'm
Hi,
still
Kathy.
here. Hola, ¿cómo está?
Muy bien.
Okay, really quickly. I was looking at coming in earlier. You talked about the anonymous high pressure across the region, and it's all down to 500 millibars. What I'm seeing is that right now we're having a pretty bad dry season, which actually we predicted. I was hoping that little bit of advective moisture coming up from Guyana about a day or so ago would start a change, but it seems that we've returned to a dry regime. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes. I've been looking at you guys, and well, this time of the year is usually still kind of dry, but the moist plume that made it all the way to actually northern Guyana this weekend, it just the northeasterly winds kicked in again, and it just went all the way south again. And this new plume arriving is not making it too far to the north. And unfortunately, we have the unfavorable MJO for the next 2 or 3 weeks. So I don't really see much rain in the next 2 or 3 weeks for you guys. Everything is going to be light, isolated rain showers.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're seeing.
We're joining that pattern. We're joining that pattern with you, Kathy. It is extremely dry outside.
Yeah, it is.
Extremely.
I'm amazed. I'm amazed that we're not seeing. We are seeing a few fires across Barbados. Nothing too big as yet, but we're still watching it. Compared to last year, we had some major brush fires, but this is March into April. We should start seeing towards the end of April a break in this. But if this MGO pattern holds, it looks like well into early May, we can actually see a dry pattern. That dry pattern persist, and then we will look for more fires. But it doesn't bear well because our climatology has suggested that we are on a 3 to 5 year deficit on rainfall.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Not good. Not
Oh,
good.
wow.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's not
No.
good. Kathy, I'm curious. What are they basing on for that forecast? SST patterns?
They use a combination of the MGO, SST for the forecast. But what we looked at, the climatological department looked at our rainfall for the last year, last 2 years, and last 3 years, and then 5 years. And they're seeing a deficit right through, especially in the last 12 months.
Oh,
and
wow.
so, and then anticipating based on the forecast, which they based on a combination of SSTs, MGOs, and some other climatological factors, seeing what we're seeing right now, that we're going back into this dry pattern. So it will be very interesting. We've already alerted the authorities of this. And the good thing is with COVID, not many people are driving around, so not many sparks to start fires, and I think that might be something to look at in the future. But people are looking a little bit about people staying home and using more water because people are washing hands. I mean, this COVID is bringing along a lot of different things happening, and so our whole culture is changing and our usage of water is changing. So that is another issue to look at.
Yeah.
So we just had a comment from Jeff Krob. Do you know
Oh.
how I could unmute him if he wants? He said suppressed hurricane season 2.
What was the comment?
Oh, that comment, suppressed hurricane season. I have my thoughts. Go ahead, Woodsy.
Oh, no, you go ahead. Yeah, I want to hear your thoughts. Yeah.
Two things we look at. And this is empirical, not, I wouldn't say hard and fast analysis. What we're seeing too, and we're seeing a sustained easterly wind flow. Sustained easterly wind flow would mean, of course, that we're keeping the sea surface mixed, and therefore temperatures might be down. We're not getting as much warming. So I'm looking at that too. If the winds persist into April, most of April into May, that could have an effect on the amount of sea surface temperatures, which then have additional effect on sea surface temperatures. What we're not seeing compared to last year is not as much dust plumes as we did, and that is another cooling factor on the ocean. So I don't know if there will be a cancellation of those two factors. So right now I'm erring on, my suspicion is that we may not have as intense a season, but it will depend significantly on what happens in terms of April, May. Because if the winds actually die down, and because we don't have that much clouds, we get warmer, we're going to have warmer sea surface temperatures. So
Right.
that was my
Right.
thoughts. Jose?
Can I ask a question?
Go right ahead.
Yeah, you're talking about this hurricane season, Kathy. I was there's a Twitter feed of Ben Knoll. He's a meteorologist out of the National Institute for Water and Atmospheric Research from New Zealand. He had a tweet the other day about his, let me just go back, this May-June increasing interseasonal forcing over the Atlantic with a standing wave of Africa, consistent with decreasing upper ocean heat content across the Pacific. Possible meaning, building evidence for early season, Atlantic. Your thoughts?
When he says what's happening to the Pacific?
That the interseasonal forcing, increasing interseasonal forcing over the Atlantic with a standing wave over Africa. consistent with decreasing upper ocean heat content across the tropical Pacific.
Right, which means you're getting an El Nino.
Yeah, I just found it a little interesting that when I saw that tweet. I was
Okay.
like, okay.
Might I say something? This is Arlene. This time of year, in terms of making teleconnections and outlooks, it's actually the lowest predictive skill period.
Mhm.
So I would, I guess, take with a pinch of salt any concrete pronouncements from outlooks that are made from this time of year. It is
Yeah.
usually the lowest, outlooks made now for going forward. It's usually the lowest predictive skill.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
ocean
agreed. You have to
temperatures
look at
are the
the-
lowest
Yeah.
generally annually right now, and it's not a period. The period of transition is not a good one for skill.
Right.
So bear that in mind.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is what
agreed.
they call the spring predictability barrier. March, April into early May is a period of transition, especially for the Pacific Basin. So, yeah, it's hard to predict what's going to be the
What's
turn,
gonna happen? Yeah.
which is not good for the hurricane season forecasting because this is
Mhm.
the time of the year when we're start worrying about it. But unfortunately, we need to wait a little bit.
Well, you know, our situation here, Dorian was devastating. We have not recovered from Dorian. Then we have this pandemic thing going on. We don't need a season that's going to be busy.
Right.
Definitely don't need a season that's going to be busy. So, you know, stores are closed. People aren't able to get out and do the necessary maintenance and repairs to their property, et cetera, et cetera. The government is just, opening up one or two hardware stores right now. So people are basically crowding these stores. So, it's a question we're going to be asked in a short while from the public. So,
Yeah.
Gregory,
Hopefully by mid-May we have a more clear picture whenever we have our next meeting. But
Yeah.
we need to wait a little. Yes.
Kathy Ann and I are actually involved in a discussion with our counterparts and other colleagues in the Pacific about responding to COVID and hydrometeorological hazards. It's something that Caribbean institutions are looking at, CARICOM institutions. We are developing regional protocols for COVID, including the impact of these hazards, these hydrometeorological hazards. And we're trying to learn from the Pacific, which got hit by Harold last week or week before last, to see how they're dealing with the combination of these factors. So it is at the forefront of everyone's mind, and we are trying to tackle it at the regional level as well.
Yeah, I think I read something where Vanuatu, they had to cancel their preps for the COVID just to deal with that hurricane. So, yeah.
They're fortunate in that they have no cases now, but what it means is the relief effort is being handled very carefully because they don't want to import cases.
Right.
So Australia, I understand, has people heading there, but they've had to put them in 14-day quarantine ahead of sending them to Vanuatu. And all the cargo is being put in like 3-day quarantine before being sent.
Wow.
But it is serious. I mean, Fiji actually already has cases, and they got hit not as bad as Vanuatu because the eye was not over them directly. There is quite a bit going on, and we're trying to learn what we can from what happens in the wake of Harold to help us with our hurricane season.
Okay, well,
And the drought is an ongoing problem there as well.
Wow. Any information we can use certainly would be appreciated.
Yeah, it's all a learning process with this new situation.
Yeah, changing world. All right. Well, thanks so much.
Okay.
Bernie, looking forward to next week.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I was ready to say, I think it's time that I need to get back to other things too. So thanks for all the good discussion, and
Thanks,
we'll talk to quite a few next week. Yep.
Yeah.
Stay,
Everybody enjoy.
Make good choices and stay safe.
Stay safe.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bueno, gracias a todos. Nos despedimos. Cerramos hasta la siguiente semana.
Bye,
Cuídense
be
mucho.
safe.
Bye.
Stay safe. Bye.